Good afternoon, guys. This is Sheila D. I am back in the kitchen again today with a wonderful recipe. Guys, I wanted to show you a wonderful recipe that I have that I prepared for my family. So we're going to get right into the video. Guys, I have some cabbage over here. And I have some in the container that I cut up. And in this container, I have some whole okra that we are going to need for this recipe. I have a small onion, white onion, we're going to need for this recipe. Then I have my seasons over there, but we'll get to that in just a few minutes. So what I did is, I put me some bacon into my favorite pan. And what I am doing is just frying it so it can get crispy. Because we are going to use we are going to use bacon pieces for this recipe. So that's why I kind of cut it up a little bit in small pieces. So what we are going to do is let this bacon just brown, okay? And we are going to let our bacon brown a little bit. So while we are letting our bacon brown, we're going to come over here and finish cutting up some of this cabbage. I just wanted to keep some out so I could show you how to cut it up. So what I am going to do with this cabbage, I am going to fry this cabbage, okay? So what we are going to do is we are going to cut it in thin pieces. Because we're going to fry it. Now with cabbage you can make soup. You can make cabbage and sausage. I have seen people do that. You can mix cabbage and collard greens. I have had recipes that I have did with that particular recipe. So I'm going to show you how I did this cabbage. I cut it up in small pieces like this. Okay. So that's how we're going to use this cabbage in this recipe. Then we are going to keep browning our bacon. And we want this bacon to get really brown, guys, okay? And I kind of like angle the camera so you could kind of take the video so you can really see into the pot what I'm trying to do. Also, I seen a lady put some smoked sausage in her cabbage. And I haven't prepared that recipe yet, but I will. So, got our cabbage cut up real nicely. We'll make sure our bacon is brown. You want to make sure this bacon is as brown as you can get it before you put your cabbage in there. Also, we are going to need some olive oil for this recipe, guys. And I'm going to grab that. So, I'm going to put a little olive oil over there. Now, when you fry bacon, you know you're going to have that bacon grease at the bottom of the pan. And you want your bacon grease at the bottom of your pan. So as our bacon brown, we are going to, I am going to tell you what my season's going to be for my recipe. I got some pepper, black pepper. I have some Hawaiian salt I am going to put into my recipe. I have my season, all season, or you could use Lori season. Also, I have some crushed red peppers here, and we are going to use them. So I think that our bacon is kind of brown enough for us to go ahead and put our cabbage into the pan. So like I said, what you're going to do is just put your cabbage into your bacon oil. And you're just going to let it fry. We're not going to put any too much water in here. We're not. Because, you know, cabbage make its own water pretty much. So we might use a little bit of water. So we got our cabbage in there going. And I don't think we're going to get all this cabbage in there, but we're going to get most of it into our pan, okay? So after you put your nice cabbage into the pan, you can let it cook a little bit and try to put the rest in there, or I'm probably going to have to save that for another recipe. So what I am going to do is put my crushed green peppers in my recipe. I am going to put my seasoning into the pot also, and my black pepper. And I have my little salt that I am going to add into the pot. So you're not going to make it with that cabbage there. So I am going to also cut up my little white onion here while that is cooking. And you can cut the onions up kind of long, guys, because it's going to cook right into your recipe. Then after we do that, put all our seasoned onions in there and our bacon, we're going to add just a little olive oil, okay, because we are going to fry this. So we are going to get some things out the way that we are not using. So guys, this is a lot of cabbage here. I hope I don't have to throw that cabbage away, but we're not going to use it. So what you do is you just let your cabbage just kind of simmer a little bit. You're going to have to stir it up a little bit. So all you're going to do is just let your cabbage simmer. You might simmer a little bit with the oil and the bacon bits and all of that good stuff. And you're going to try to turn it over. Because we got a full pan here, so we're going to have to try to turn it over a little bit. But it's going to take a little while for it to start cooking down. So, like I said, guys, you just cut your cabbage up kind of nice and thin. I cut my cabbage up the long way when I am going to prepare it like this. Now, you might have to add a couple drops of water into your recipe. You don't want to keep it, you don't want to burn it. So what I am going to do with this recipe is I have some whole okras. And I am going to put my whole okras into my cabbage and let that cook also. But we are going to just let this just cook down just a few minutes before we add them okra. And the reason why I want to put my okra into the pan now is because it takes about 20 minutes for this recipe to cook. 25 minutes, 20 minutes. So okra only take about maybe 20 minutes to prepare also the cabbage. So what you can do is just add your okra on top, and you're going to keep maybe adding a little drop of water. Don't overdo it with the water, guys, okay? Now, you might have to add some more seasoning to this recipe if you like. But I am just basically showing you how that I prepare my fried cabbage. I don't put a lot of water in it because you don't need a lot of water when you're frying cabbage. So I am going to just let it keep simmering. And you just keep turning it. So we'll try to get our little bacon up here. See, we got a little bacon. And all the little juices are all together, guys. And I like to add the crushed peppers because that gives it a good flavor. And so we are going to just keep turning. And as you can see with this one, you can see that our cabbage is kind of frying up pretty good here. But you want to keep turning it because you do not want it to burn. And also, guys, you might want to use a bigger pan. But or either you could buy a smaller cabbage, and that'll work. So what I am going to do is add my okra in, because it's frying up pretty good now. And I'm going to have more room into the pan. And when I bought these okra, you know, they are frozen, guys. But I did rinse them off, so they kind of stuck together. So we are going to just throw our little okra on there. And I would also, in this recipe, add a little accent to kind of kick the flavor up a little bit for you. But it goes by your taste. So guys, I got my okra and my bacon pieces and my cabbage into the pan. And it's just cooking down really, really well. So as you see, I add a couple drops of water. As you can see, I do not put a whole pan of water. You don't want that. You just want this cabbage to just simmer. And you keep stirring your cabbage. And just stir it up. And then also you can add a pot. You can put a top onto your pan and just let it simmer for about 20 minutes. But you got to keep checking it, and I'm going to tell you why. Because we did not put water in here, guys, remember? You just putting a little drop at a time to keep it from burning. So that means at the bottom of your pan, you might have this much liquid at the bottom of your pan. So you just got to keep turning it. And you keep turning it, and don't let it burn. Just keep adding a little drop of water if it gets dry at the bottom, and just keep turning it until it gets done. But when your cabbage gets done, you're gonna know because it's gonna start getting tender. And you just keep turning it and just letting it cook. And that's pretty much how I do my fried cabbage. I've seen people put a lot of oil in their cabbage, and I don't do that. So what I do is I just cut it down real low, and I am going to do that. And I just let my cabbage just simmer for about 20 minutes. Or you could do it longer until it gets brown. And then you got your okras in there, and they are going to get nice and done and brown also. And then you can make you some nice cornbread or hot water cornbread to go with this meal. Also, I am cooking today what they call cube steaks. So we're going to come back to this particular recipe because I'm going to come back with another video, and I am going to show you how I cook my cube steaks. So this is how I do my cabbage, and I am going to come back with another video, guys, and show you how I prepare my cube steaks. Okay, thank you. See you on the next videos, guys.